Nothing's going in the right direction for Joe Biden. He's trailing Trump in every single one of the swing state averages. With so many Democrats bailing, the campaign needs a backup plan. Find more Democrats. How do they do that, and where do they get them from? Well, Joe Biden ordered every single one of his federal agencies to register new voters. If you visit healthcare.gov, they try to register you to vote. The Department of Interior wants you to register to vote at national parks. If you're in the free lunch program, the USDA persuades your parents to register. And HUD's trying to register homeless people. You see what's happening here, right? Biden's using your tax dollars to register Democrats to vote in the election.
Jesse Waters is the most disingenuous, anti-American person perhaps in this country, save for the man who he hawks for all day, Donald Trump. He is the smarmiest, most obviously lying and misrepresenting information host on television now that Tucker Carlson is gone from television. To say that because the sitting president has told the different agencies under his purview to register people to vote and make that seem like a bad thing is the most transparent example of voter suppression as a lauded quality in the Republican Party. And at Fox News, the mouthpiece of the Republican Party. Never, anywhere, does it say only register if you're a Democrat. It says register in general. If your philosophy as a party is you want less people to vote, you do not represent the people. You represent special interests. That's why you'd only want them voting and less of the masses of the nation. So that being in and of itself incredibly clear. If that's not enough proof for you, he gives you the great speculation. Do those agencies and people interacting with them seem like typical Republican voters? People dependent on government services, do they seem like Republican voters?
You say, wait, Jesse, he wants everyone to register to vote. No. He's targeting people who interact with the federal government, people who are depending on government assistance, families that get food stamps, families in the free lunch program, families that get free health care, homeless people. Is this a demographic that you'd consider traditionally Republican?
Well, they are, much more than they're Democrat. According to an article put out by WalletHub and Governing.com, 8 of the 10 most federally dependent states were Republican, while 7 of the 10 least federally dependent were Democratic, suggesting, quite clearly I might add, that Republican states are the ones who are more dependent upon federal assistance than Democratic ones. So it doesn't matter what you think sounds Republican, Jesse. When we look at actual statistics, not just our feelings, we see that red states collect just as much, if not, it seems now clear, more, much more, welfare dollars than blue states. Just because people like you convince many Republicans to vote against their own interests, as you can clearly now see, they accept money and need money from government programs and then vote against government programs and those who will give them the money that they need because of some aspirational goal of one day being able to be in a top tax bracket they won't ever reach most likely, and then they'll be able to pay less taxes, the most backwards thinking philosophy possible, but yet it works since the beginning of this republic on people with weak minds who are easily hypnotizable by disingenuous snake oil salesmen who are trying to trick you into giving away all of your power. And then he brings on Kellyanne Conway. Her name is literally Conway. The Conway is how she exists, by conning people, by lying to them.
Kellyanne, this looks shady, is it?
Yes, of course it is. Basically, Joe Biden, again, is weaponizing aspects of the federal government. And in this case, Jesse, to undermine democracy and swing an election his way.
Yes, of course this is a bad thing, Jesse. Having people vote, having more people vote is a bad thing? Yeah, again, when you're trying to take people's power to vote away, it's because you are up to no good. So every time the Republican Party claims they have an election integrity initiative, it's just voter suppression, plain and simple. They don't want you to vote. Does that make you want to vote more or less? Because so often you hear groups say, oh, I don't feel represented by my government, so I'm not going to vote. That's exactly why you do vote. That's exactly why you must vote, because that's the only little bit of power you have left in influencing the future and who will be in government and whether they will listen to you more or continue not listening to you. That's all you got. But Laura Trump now, Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, is the head of the Republican Party and says that votes should not even be counted after Election Day. Not even ones that are legally voted voted for through mail-in ballots and postmarked by Election Day. Like legally they are supposed to be counted because they also believe that mail-in ballots favor Democrats.
You cannot have ballots counted, Maria, after elections are over. And right now, that is one of the many lawsuits we have out across this country to ensure that just that happens, that we have a free, fair, and transparent election. So in Nevada, as you pointed out, we are saying we want on Election Day that to be the last day that mail-in ballots can be counted.
They just don't want the people of America to vote. They don't want anybody to vote. They want as few people as possible. Just keep the special interests doing it. Here's another example. This long-time scheming, sliming Republican who was a fake elector for Trump, wanted to be, caught cheering voter suppression.
Robert Spindell, that's that gentleman there, a Republican member of the Wisconsin Elections Commission. He also served as a fake Republican elector for Donald Trump in 2020, is currently a defendant in 3 separate lawsuits from the federal to the local level connected to the pro-Trump scheme to overturn the election. The December emails from Spindell reads in part, quote, "We can be especially proud of the city of Milwaukee. 80.2% Dem vote, casting 37,000 less votes than cast in the 2018 election, with the major reduction happening in the overwhelming Black and Hispanic areas." Spindell goes on to say that the, quote, "well thought out, multifaceted plan included a substantial and very effective Republican coordinated election integrity program, resulting with lots of Republican paid election judges and trained observers and extremely significant continued court litigation." Spindell confirmed the email was real to the Associated Press, but denied he was bragging about voter suppression, insisting, quote, "the last thing I want to do is suppress votes." Oh, really?
You heard it. Proud of suppressing minority votes in this country. I'll ask you one more time. Does that make you want to vote more or less? Please let that make you want to vote more. Please register. You can go to vote.gov or whenweallvote.com. It takes 2 minutes. You can even check if your registration is still active. And when the day comes, find out where your polling place will be. I'm Ben Gleib for Rebel HQ. Follow me on Instagram at Ben Gleib for lots more.